can trust
Okay,
you.
perfect. Yeah, that's literally one more step that I've done.
I'm inclined to actually start blocking things in a little bit right now. Of course, I'm using a surface I'm not familiar with. What could go wrong? Not like people are
You're
watching.
just crushing it.
I know.
Everything's great.
I just like to set low expectations. I want to prime you guys for failure so that if it comes together,
Like,
you're like,
wow,
oh,
man,
he's
you thought you
amazing.
biffed it. This is great.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's fine. There's no pressure. You're not being streamed live.
Yeah.
How weird would that
Who
be?
cares about that? I'm sure there's probably, and we can't, yeah, we don't have a moderator, so we don't have anyone to watch like a Twitch stream for us, so we can't even answer questions. Hi,
That's all right.
everybody
Last
watching.
night we only lost 14,500 viewers. It's all right. I don't think we'll pull that off
Can't
tonight.
figure out what happened.
Well, we weren't previewing cards anymore.
That's true. We should just string people on and say that we're previewing something at the end.
Keep watching. We might reveal something at the break.
Yeah, exactly.
Never
Next
before
break.
seen artwork at the break.
Whoa.
I'm not. I can't tell you. Oh, I'm supposed to use a timer.
The dangerous new thing your kids are trying tonight at 11.
What industry are millennials killing next?
We're killing live painting demos. That's what we're doing.
This is it. This is the end. This is the last one.
It's fun while it lasts.
Yep. All right, I'm going to start your hour timer now because you've been sitting there for a while.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Where Cat comes from, they have different rules than where I come from.
Oh, like what?
Yeah, so they do 3-hour sessions where essentially the model gets 3 breaks, whereas the group I usually paint with is 4-hour sessions with a break every 20 minutes. So you can tell which of us is from a softer painting environment.
I sure can. I mean, I was excited when I went to stone setting school. We got a whole hour out for lunch.
Oh yeah.
Trying to express surprise without moving every facial feature.
That's right. You know, Sargent used to talk to his sitters. So let's try that. What could go wrong? He would also have his portrait citties, I guess, complain about it taking 8 weeks. Coming back session after session, he would paint and then he would scrape it all off. And they're like, is he ever gonna finish this thing? So you look at his paintings, and it looks like it was all done in one go, because it was. It just took 3 months to get to that one go.
Of course.
I need that blue backpack. Thank you. Oh, and don't put your paintbrushes in your mouth.
You also shouldn't clean your gold leafing adhesive brushes by like drawing them between the don't do that.
Okay.
Another pro tip.
It's probably fine.
I mean, it says non-toxic on it, right? It's gotta count for something.
I use lead white. I've heard the problem with lead paint is that it was sweet, and that's why kids would eat it.
I'd buy that 1,000%.
Yeah.
I thought the problem was the whole like.
Yeah, and well, yeah, the problem is you eat it and then it replaces calcium in your bones, and then you don't have proper bone growth. So luckily, my bones are all solid and matured. And
Live studio audience, how has your Gen Con been?
Great.
oh, went a little dark there. There we go. What name should we use for you during the stream?
Whatever.
Well, I only know you as
Not-
Olivia.
Not true, whatever. Olivia's fine.
Okay.
Liv is fine. Do you want to shorten it?
Well,
I'm a moderator.
Don't isolate. I have choice names for you too, Logan.
she and I just met. I don't get to use those names.
There's plenty of clips on the Twitch stream of me calling you said names. Thanks for helping me keep it together, Logan. You deserve everything you got when you isolated that Hedron crowd. mean, it was turn 1. No, it wasn't I mean, seriously, the end step of turn 1. You isolate my hedron crab. You deserve everything you got. By the way, hi everybody. We're talking about magic while I'm sitting here trying not to make eye contact with the person who like spurned me.
Is this the right place to be talking about magic?
Probably not.
That's a thing?
I mean, I hear it's pretty obscure.
Yeah.
Not like anything anybody like gets into or like does stuff about. It's just fringe card game. Yeah, fringe card game.
I was pretty serious about it until I went to art school and had no time, money, or play group back when Ice Age came out. What? Oh, art
Tell
school?
me about art school.
Oh, it was great. The best years of my... No. So I remember it perhaps unduly harshly.
Right.
There are some good and important things I learned at art school. And then there's also the time I turned in a drawing assignment that was 34 little sketches sealed in a white cardboard box that no one was allowed to look at. That was my senior year, then my last semester. That was the clear sign Drew had been in art school too long.
Sounds legit.
Yeah, you know, and in a fine arts program that's trying to feed Boston and New York galleries, that's a totally valid solution to a drawing class problem.
Yeah.
The professor looked hurt and asked that if I were ever to do that again, could I also please do some drawings to put on the wall that people were allowed to see?
And you responded with blank, you pay me.
I was non-committal, yeah. I would make no promises.
Non-committal.
It's fine, we don't have a moderator. You don't have to say blank.
Wow. But I mean, I am cognizant of the fact that I'm somewhat official right now.
Yeah, you're the moderator. This will reflect badly on both of us.
Yeah. Wait, why do I have to be responsible for how you look?
Since you're the
Aren't you
moderator.
painting?
Don't you have a mute button or something for me?
No.
You should.
I can try to
Or a
very
2-second delay?
surreptitiously take off the shoe and throw it at you, but that's kind of the best I've got. Even then, you're going to see it coming. I can't move that much. Logan, stop it.
All right.
He's drawing my face. Seriously, stop it.
Yeah. Oh, you can see. I've forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
I can read things
right
on
there.
it. It's right there. Okay, it's time to draw your face.
Okay.
Okay. I guess that's what we all came here for. So anyway, about art school.
Tell us more.
No, I don't have anything to say about art school. Tune in next hour to find out what I have to say about art school. Art school, should you go? Find out. At, what, 9 o'clock? Is that when our...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Tonight at 9.
But since then, I've tried to remain a student. I've been taking workshops
Nice.
with some excellent painters.
Should you ever not be a student in one way or another?
No. After that decade recovering from art school, I was
Well,
ready to
fair.
be... All right,
I just
fine.
feel like you're always trying to learn something.
Yeah. It's the surface of my
Not
industry.
necessarily art school. I like how you're blaming whatever it is on the surface.
Well, I can't wipe away as much as I would expect. It's a lead alkyd ground that I've only used a couple of times. You said that blue mark on your chin would be dimensional? It would
I'm sorry?
stick out? You said the blue mark would be a piercing? It would stick out?
It's a piercing, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I was so proud of myself. I remade a silver like piercing that I had fixed with spirit gum onto my face
Oh.
and promptly lost it right before this.
Oh, no.
Because wore it all day. It came back with me to the hotel room, and I went to put it back on. It was fun.
I always forget something every Gen Con. One year it was my prints. I had to call my long-suffering wife, ask her to overnight me my prints.
Were they like on top of your car left here, or just like in a box on the floor left here?
No, they were perfectly tidily packed, set in the living room, ready to go in the car. But that was, I think, the year I started making a list, keeping a master list of things to bring to shows.
It's funny how a mistake punishes us in the strangest ways.
Yeah.
I never kept lists until it absolutely destroyed everything I was trying to do and I didn't. I'll tell you guys, that backdrop is utterly fascinating.
There's a lot of green in the shadow side of your face. It's
Oh,
an
Making it
unusual mixture.
are you trying to say I'm a lizard person?
No, I'm trying to make excuses.
It's actually kind of a fascinating exercise, sitting here and focusing on a faraway point. I can see you painting. I know that you're doing things, but it's in the peripheral of both of my eyes on screen.
Yeah.
And I terribly want to look, but I know I'll shift my face. I'll change my expression even more than I already am just by talking.
I was taking a workshop, and we had an incredibly famous and proficient painter in instruction, and one of the models we had two models in the center back to back, and half the class on either side. And one of the models was incredibly fascinated by what this guy had to say, and would just follow him around the room as he was talking to the students. So, of course, that was the side I was
If
on.
you're doing something like this, whomever is talking is extremely boring, and they have to be.
Yeah.
Or you have to pretend they are and just be like, oh.
So, that was a life-changing workshop for
Acknowledge
me.
the content you're delivering to me, but I cannot. Did they give you guys a microphone to ask us questions? That's very silly.
Probably for the best student that he's here.
That's fair.
That is rude but probably true.
Tough but fair. Yeah.
Tough but fair.
I mean, I'm sure you guys have stuff. You can always ask him, and I can just chime in if I catch words. But
You're really loud.
Oh, should I introduce it myself? What should I say
Oh,
about
yeah,
myself?
huh.
Hi, I'm
Who
Drew
are you?
Baker. I'm
What-
at booth
what have you
571 this year at Gen Con, in the long shadow of Steve Argyle.
Yeah. Aren't we all?
Yes.
let's hear.
If he weren't one of my favorite people, he would be insufferable.
Suppose that my name's on the thing already, but if you don't know me, hi, I'm Olivia Gobert-Hicks.
Okay.
I dress up in foam and strange materials, like art you see on the cards you play. Now I'm trying to sit still and failing miserably.
How is your Gen Con going?
My Gen Con's going great. I have been spell slinging with Sheldon Menery at the Legion booth from 12 to 3 every day with some contest winners and just people that swing by. So I'm getting to play a lot of Magic. I got to walk through Artist Alley and see really, really cool artwork today. I think my collective roommates have probably purchased most of the board games available for sale here. So there's a lot of things I need to cover and learn, but
As one does.
as one does, yeah. It's really funny having seen Catan come to where it is now and like take up, a city block worth of room in the main hall. When I remember, I want to say back in, was it my study abroad? I think it was when I was in Paris in 2005. I remember playing it on some weird .NET server that my friend keyed me up to. I was like, what is this game with hexagonal tiles? I'm interested. And knowing it only from that, like I didn't know Catan was a board game. I knew it was, hey, what's the honeycomb grid with the like land and animals in it? I'm interested. Tell me more. So it's funny coming to events like these and then seeing how much something from a memory has changed. So it's fascinating, actually.
And what were you doing in Paris?
What was I doing first? I was studying French. Back when I thought I should have a double major because I was an idiot. I took a lot of French. And
Kind of a
as
consistent.
we can all see, that's doing wonders for me now. I haven't used it really since. But I did my great grandmother before she passed left myself and my other her fellow grandchildren and great grandchildren like a little bit of money. I didn't know I had it until I was about 19, so it was actually a nice little chunk. So I used that parting gift for my study abroad. Got to go live over in Paris for a few months, go to Sorbonne and learn language, and have a really great time only to promptly forget it years later because I never spoke French anymore.
Yeah.
But that's why I was there. It was great.
That's great. It seems to be sort of a common thread amongst artistic types is to make life decisions that make things more difficult. We like to play on hard
I
mode.
didn't make it useful. I made it fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, it's the memories you take with you. Right?
Yeah.
We're playing Catan, a .NET service.
Sorry?
We're playing Catan, a .NET service.
Yeah. In my apartment when it was raining outside and I didn't want to like walk to class, I'd be like, I'd walk downstairs. I'd go across our one little street in the courtyard, grab a baguette from the baker that was right across the street. I'd promptly walk back, cut it in half, and slather it with butter and jam, and just play Catan and be like, I'm not going to school today. At least until these clouds clear up. So I'd basically not go to class for like the language program sometimes, but I would go afterwards when we had our practical museum tours because we had those little like student museum cards. You can get one. You just go in as much as you can during a month. I think I saw every single piece of art in the Louvre that year.
Yes.
I mean, every day between classes, just be like, well, we can just ride the metro and just go hang out there. How privileged it was to just be like, I don't know, I want to see the Earth's classics. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We got a couple hours to kill every single day. So, it was a really cool experience. I'm glad I did it. Looking back, I'm like, it was fun. Could have used that money now. It was fun. But again, the memories are better.
Probably find something to spend it on between then and now.
Honestly, I have a great life now. I'm happy with everything as it's turned out, so anything I'd change, good or bad, wouldn't put me here, so it's all good. I got into cosplay on a whim, out of nowhere. What was it? I think I just started playing Magic, so I started playing Magic in 2014. And my very first game was an 8-person, 2-headed giant game of Commander. I was hooked. I was totally in because I thought one of the nicest parts was that I had one of my good friends that I've known, a couple decades, right at my side explaining everything as it's happening. So it's actually really easy to pick up, oh, here's why we tap this way, oh, here's why, this costs what this rules text actually means instead of having this guess in your head that may or may not be right. So the game took forever, but I was super in. And I want to say I moved back up to Seattle after jewelry school in 15 and started. Card Kingdom was my LGS. So I went there. My husband and I finally, it was like, all right, I'm ready to build my own decks. I'm gonna be a big girl. I really play Magic now. I'm gonna build something. So we went and got a few of the pre-cons and the fat pack boxes and stuff like that. And I remember looking through some of the art and being like, man, it'd be really fun to make this. I'm just, okay, whatever. Build my decks, go on. And then we went to Emerald City Comic Con. And I was like, okay, so I could build something and wear it here. But what I actually wanted to cosplay at first wasn't Magic, but I wanted a Shayla costume from Chrono Trigger. So I went as far as asking, starting inquiring on commissions because I can't sew, I still can't. So I asked people about that and it always just kind of fall by the wayside and be like, it's so far away. Why do I need to worry about this now? Is this even what I want to do? Whatever. So finally, I ended up, as the next Emerald City rolled around, I saw that there were Magic cosplayers. I ran into Christine Sprinkle's stuff and Ashlyn's things. I was like, all right, so I wouldn't be the only person doing it. Now I kind of want to do it. I've always been pretty crafty, so I just went on YouTube and went on, like, I'm sure Pinterest was a thing at that time. I did that too. And just started finding out, like, what kind of materials I needed. I ordered the giant sheet of Warbler to start, having zero clue what I was doing. It showed. And took like 4 months to make a Warbler Liliana. It was mostly Rise of the Dark, or not, was it Rise of the Dark Realms? Yes, Rise of the Dark Realms influenced costume. And we went to Emerald City, and I was like, this is pretty cool. And I put it away, and I didn't touch it for a year. I just played Magic, didn't ever cosplay again. And then it turned out in 2017, I went to Las Vegas. My husband had lived there for a long time, and so we were going to visit friends and do the GP at the same time. And so I wore the Liliana one day, and I ran into a bunch of the other cosplayers, namely Sydney. And from there, just kind of ended up talking with them, went to a couple of the other events like the Commander After Party and stuff like that, and just, I don't know, they invited me to like a group chat, and all of a sudden I was cosplaying, like a lot. And all of a sudden I was building costumes, like a lot, and just kept rolling with it. So that's really all it was. It was just this one-off, I'm going to challenge, maybe I can make a Liliana, I can do that. That attitude. And then, yeah, it just took off from there. I never intended on, like, doing this. It wasn't like, I'm going to be a cosplayer. It's like, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. I'll wear it one day. I only wear it one day. And, I just got sucked into it. The people that, all the cosplayers in Magic are great, and the community that we formed, and then being able to interact with so many other people, sharing the game you love, and then, like, having brought some of that to the real world, not necessarily bringing it to life, but bringing it out to the real world was really fun and engaging, and it's been great meeting people. And now I sit and do this stuff where, like, an actual bona fide person that knows how to paint is painting me. Just on the ride life's putting me on right now. I am on this train until it stops. I think it was funny. The Emerald City Comic Con, I actually did get people staring at me. I'm pretty sure because it was either a mix of they knew who I was or they didn't know who I was. Because I was almost never in the Magic area. I'd be out on the main floor. So there are people that don't know what Magic is, or like aren't intimately familiar with the art and the characters. So they're like, Purple Witch? Cool. Tight. Yeah, that works. All right, sure. But I think there comes a point where after you've been cosplaying for a while and you're super nervous and you're like, everyone is picking apart every detail. They can see where the foam is split right here. It's only a millimeter deep, but I know it's there. No, everybody does. There comes a point where you don't care anymore. If someone's going to give you heat, which by the way they never do, if they do, it's rare, and it's usually in passing because they don't want to actually be accosted to, speaking rudely to another fellow human being to their face. It's like they're looking at it to see what it is that registered out of the corner of their eye. Nobody's judging you. Nobody cares. All of us are like, all we see is the flaws. We'll compliment each other to death and mean every word of it. And we're like, please don't ever look that closely at my cosplay again. Do you see this seam right now? It is not perfectly straight. Nobody else knows that but you. So there comes a point in time where you know you're wearing a costume. It's just like, yeah, of course they're looking. Look how awesome I did. They should. It's fine. And you just don't see it anymore. You don't notice it, and then it's just a matter of like making sure you're actually saying hi to people when they're staring at you because they don't know how to say hello, or you didn't hear them because these cons are extraordinarily loud. Like, just have to actually be engaging instead of like, I'm looking straight at you and walking past you because I don't know if you said anything. It's not a big deal. Like it's not even that you get used to it. It's that you stop caring because you know it's not a judgmental one anymore. And if it is, who cares about that? What are they doing? They're judging you for cosplay, and that means you did something, and they're just standing there looking at you. I still come out ahead. So. it
I tried to track down some Warbler for my daughter just before coming out because she wants to start trying.
they actually have some on Amazon now, I think.
Oh, do they? Yeah.
It's a little more expensive.
She had read that it might be available at Michael's and she wanted it quickly, so we ran out.
It
to
might
the
be
local one
available
and asked. Yeah, and they didn't know what we were asking
Oh
for.
yeah, of
so.
course not. Sometimes I think Tap Plastics has it if you have one around wherever you are. But otherwise, just I think it's cosplaysupplies.com or whatever. You just
She started out saying she wanted to be an artist, so I told her to be an accountant. Don't do this. Someone needs to take care of me when I'm old.
It's always funny hearing stuff like that when so many people like rebel against what it is their parents do.
Yeah.
I'm like, my mom's a superhero. I'm like, I'm not going to be a child and take worker at CVS. I'm like, you rescue babies from terrible, terrible situations. Literally could not handle what you do. Yeah, it's always interesting. At least from my perspective, like the way I grew up, I can't imagine ever thinking anything my parents did was cool. So I'd be like an artist.
Yeah.
Ew.
It wasn't until she was probably about 8 or 9 when she made some real leaps in drawing from observation.
Oh,
You know,
that's cool,
understanding that your brain lies to you about what your eyes are seeing, that's a really difficult lesson to
though.
get.
Yeah.
And once she did that, all right, I'll work
It's
on getting
amazing-
comfortable with this.
It is amazing how lazy brains are.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
They're
and
so lazy.
they reward you for not making them work.
Yeah. They reward you for being stupider. They're like, man, you didn't even make me think about that. Yeah, do that again.
Yeah, dopamine. Deny that evidence. I'll reward you for that.
It's like, you know what that serotonin it is? Not believing what you just saw. Do it. Brains are messed up.
Yeah.
Seriously though, it's always funny when I just like, you know, we have electives in high school. I took psychology, and our teacher would just have the best time screwing with us, doing all those little tricks of like making your brain expect one thing, so it completely turns off every cognitive process, and then you sound like an absolute dumbass in front of everybody when you're like, yeah, cows drink milk. When they do the little like, what do you drink for breakfast? What do you drink for breakfast? What do you like eat for breakfast? What do cows eat? And they get you to just end up saying, well, like, yeah, cows drink milk. It's like, no, they make it, idiot.
like that joke.
Just-
Spell boast. What do you put in a toaster?
Bread.
Bread,
Exactly.
not toast.
That's it. Yeah.
Raw toast.
I love the yeah.
Toast in
My favorite
potentia.
is the Calvin and Hobbes joke of you put bread in the toaster and toast comes out, but where does the bread go? As though they were not transitive, but instead two separate things completely.
All right. Well, it looks like if I'm going to draw your face, I'm going to have to talk for a little bit. So, what should I talk about, audience? Arting.
About art school.
Art makes life better. Art school was pretty cool. It was all right. So this is a point where I thank my oldest sister. My oldest sister Esther is an accountant, which is one of the reasons I told my daughter to be an accountant, because I think the world of accountants. She, despite having not really a creative bone in her body, when I decided I'm not going into physics, I'm going into art, looked at me and said, okay, I'll help you do that. And she took me to the school to look at it, and she sent me money every week out of her paycheck while I was there so I could buy food, and it actually even paid off my student loans. So anything good I've done in my art career, I owe to my sister Esther. So thank you, Esther. Thank you, Esther. She's the best.
I'm sure she's watching.
Yeah, yes. Amongst the 15 people on the stream are 13 of Esther's accountants.
And Esther with 2 tabs open.
What's that?
And Esther with 2 tabs open.
So, but then my first year of art school was great. We did the freshman foundation courses, still life drawing, figure drawing, and I piled up as many classes as I could. I took the anatomy class, and pushed myself really hard and learned a lot and learned to draw, and it was great. But I was going to a fine arts program, and I had heard I wanted to grow up to paint things that looked like things, maybe do book covers, sci-fi fantasy stuff, because that's what I'd really enjoyed as a kid. And I knew art schools weren't interested in that. And I'd heard stories about people fighting with art schools, trying to get their teachers to accept that sort of thing.
Sorry, I have to change brushes.
And I decided I wasn't going to do that. It was going to be a stealth operation. I was going to go be a good student, learn what I could, and then leave them all, betray them all to go be an illustrator. And that worked really well until my senior year, when I was trying to reconcile mutually exclusive theories about painting and trying to be a good student because I still wanted to see what they would teach me. And boy, I ended up hating every minute of that. And it, not only was it my senior year, but my father had just had a heart attack, so I had to deal with the emotional realities of mortality suddenly crashing on me. And it was lousy. And it took about 10 years to recover from my senior year of art school. Now, there are some very important things I learned at art school. I learned how to critique. I learned how to take critiques, including the understanding that if someone giving you a critique says something is bothering them, they're probably right that there's something wrong, and they're also probably exactly wrong about how to fix it. And that's it. So after I recovered from art school, I started, dang it, I'm supposed to be working on your face and I'm painting your hair because you're not talking now. I got distracted. Yeah, and you asked me about art school, so I'm doing a lot of thinking, so I need to do some autopilot painting.
Right, of course.
I'm changing brushes. This one. It's too small, but I'm using it anyway.
Breathe away from the mic.
Sorry. All right, where was I? So after art school, after 10 years of recovering from art school, learning how to draw again, I started taking workshops. I decided that I didn't want to work digitally anymore. I started my illustration career doing my color work digitally, but I never took advantage of it. It was still very much an oil painting process. I just didn't have to wonder where that orange came from on my sleeve. I didn't have to clean my brushes. I mean, I didn't even use that orange that day. What the heck? And so I started taking workshops. I went to the illustration master class, which is organized by Rebecca Gay of Magic the Gathering fame.
She is incredible.
She is incredible. It was a week-long workshop in Massachusetts where some of the best artists in the field, like Donato Giancola and Rebecca and Boris Vallejo and Julie Bell and Scott Fisher and Dan DeSantos.
I recognize some of those
Yeah,
names.
were frank and honest, not just about their techniques and materials and how they did their work, but also about why they did their work and what, running their businesses and making an emotional connection to their projects. And that was fantastic. I actually did that 5 times. It's an expensive workshop, but it was worth it. The first time I got to sell a painting to George Lucas, it pretty much paid for all that. But the 4th and 5th times, those were pretty decadent. I needed to be making changes and choices about my life's direction. I've lost track of that. I don't want to talk about that.
Did they recognize you by like the 3rd time through?
Yeah. I think Donato may have even recognized me before that. One of my formative encounters was at Gen Con with Donato Giancola. I had been doing RPG interior illustrations during the D20 boom. Literally getting tens of dollars from the gaming industry. Tens of dollars. And man, it got to suck. Because I needed to, I needed to be making more than that. I needed to be contributing more to my household.
That sounds kind of greedy to need more than tens of dollars.
What's that?
It sounds kind of greedy to need more than tens of dollars.
More than tens of dollars. And so I started to do it faster. And that meant the quality went down. So I didn't enjoy it, and I resented the final product, and still wasn't making enough money. And it became like I was the ant in the lion beetle's trap, in the little sand trap. It was going to swallow me. It was going to eat me. And it was also not just the D20 boom, but it was also the .com boom. And I had done computer stuff as a hobby through high school and my first year at college. So I figured I'd gone to Gen Con a couple of times. I'd shared my portfolio a couple of times. I paid for this trip to Gen Con and made all the reservations. I'm going to go to Gen Con, and I'm not even going to take a portfolio. When I come back, I'm just going to go get some IT certificates and move on with my life. Sorry, Esther. And the third day, something like that, I was walking through the hall. This was back in Milwaukee, one of the last years in Milwaukee. And there was a guy doing a painting demo in the hallway. I wasn't familiar with him. And he was pretty good. He knew what he was doing. He certainly had his demo shtick down. Demoing is a different kind of party trick than doing a painting is. They are different skills. And how are you doing? Do you need a break? Okay. So he did his demo and he talked, and I watched it and enjoyed it. And then he said he was doing a talk that evening, a slideshow. All right, I'll go to that. I'm not busy. I had no idea how to do a convention anyway. So I went to his talk, and there were, I think, 5 people in the audience. There was there was me, there was Eric, there was Craig, there was the guy, I don't remember his name, and his then girlfriend, soon to be wife, Jasmine. And then there was Donato giving his talk. And while he gave his talk, it became clear to me that the problem hadn't been trying to do illustration like this. It had been trying to do the wrong sorts of jobs. I had fallen into the wrong market, and I was letting it kill me. And so I needed to get out of that. And that is the story of why I didn't quit doing art altogether after meeting Donato Giancola. After his talk, he looked at the sparse audience and said, "I'm hungry. Do you guys want to go get Chinese?"
Nice.
So I got to go have dinner with that group. And it was probably years later when I finally found out that it was Craig Marr who was Craig, and it was Eric Wilkerson who was there. I feel terrible. I don't remember the other guy's name. He ended up doing coloring for comic books, things like that. But it was a really great outing. So I went home and I tried to stop doing the art that was killing me. I started focusing on more color work. I didn't get great color work jobs out of the gate. I started doing Legend of the Five Rings, which was still better. I mean, it was hundreds of dollars.
That's way more than tens of
Yeah, that was.
It is arguably more than tens of dollars, yes.
Isn't that an order of magnitude even? Almost. So I started doing that, but lucked into them needing a new star. The art director at the time had lost, there'd been some drama. They'd lost their star artists who had been on staff and then went off to form Privateer Press, I think it was. And they needed to replace them. And I was recovering from art school, so as far as he could tell, I was getting good quickly. And he started grooming me for the job. He's like, okay, this first piece wasn't terrible. Oh, the second piece was all right. And there was a mailing list at the time where he would talk to the artists working on the game. And he said, some people have asked me, what do you need to do to get to do character cards? Because those are the best cards. Those are the permanents that stay on the board.
Right.
So they need the best art, and they're what the the players are going to be fans of. And he said you need to paint larger than life characters who chew up nails and spit out gravel and that sort of thing. So my next piece, it was supposed to just be a spell, and it was some wizard vomiting magma.
Pretty legit.
It was a declaration of intent, and he saw it as that. So he's okay. All right, we'll try the next job and we'll try the next thing. And
So
he
I have a quick
he
question
deliberately
for you.
maneuvered me into doing really important characters for each clan in the game. There was one set I did 11 cards. There were like the 10 clans, and then I did also the important story beat. So every player at that set had a card they wanted to use that had my art on it. And then they started giving me clan champions and things like that. And along the same time, I had been invited to Germany for one of their tournaments, the Kotai season. And my first reaction was, of course, oh no, I don't know how to travel. This is terrible. I don't want to do that. But for some reason, I had been primed with the idea that when my opportunity came to travel, I had to take it. So despite not wanting to do it at all, and leaving my passport at home.
That wasn't a sign at all.
No.
I'm sensing a theme here.
That's why I have a to-do list, a remember to pack list for every show. And I've emailed myself about the thing I forgot this year. Like, add this to your list, Drew. I went to the... What's that?
If I take this part off?
No, that'll be fine.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Do you want to do that now? The sleeves or the... Oh, okay.
No, we good.
Okay.
Look at that scene.
She's self-conscious. Come on, people.
Don't blame the whole audience. It's just him.
I see you. Start running. Should have brought Felden's cane. I could have started yelling at him. Actually, I just need like a giant blow up of Sheevan's disappointed face from that Commander video. Just carry it around like they have at basketball games, just like Sheevan was disappointed.
So I went to Germany, and as those of you who have gone to GPs know, it turns out that's a very self-selected audience to be excited about what the artists are doing. And that was a really exciting thing. And that meant I could parlay that $100 for a popular card into, eking out a living. So I started doing 4 or 5 tournaments during the Kotai season, and using that popularity that Jim had maneuvered me into to become a fan favorite. And it was actually very rewarding several years. I really enjoyed it. When the art contract changed, it was very hard to walk away from that.
Yeah, I bet.
But the contract got worse, the pay didn't get better, and I was not as young a man as I had been. I had a child or two and needed to spend more time at home. Traveling was getting harder. So it was a lot like when I walked away from L5R, it was a lot like leaving for college. It was a lot like leaving home. And they had a send-off for me at the World Championships in Spain. By that time, I had finally realized when I was in Europe, I needed to add a day or two to actually see museums. The first time I tried that was in Spain, and I went to go see the Prado on a Monday. So I got to see the outside door of the Prado.
Yeah, you sure did. I was in Mexico City and tried to go to the Frida Kahlo Museum, but of course did not remember.
Oh, yeah?
Monday is actually the day everything's closed.
I was with Steve Argyle at that L5R event, and then he was back in 2 weeks later, texted me, the Prado's not the same without you, Drew. Oh. See you again.
Thanks.
You'd be intolerable. But it was a good time. My first Magic card was for M11, the Gargoyle Sentinel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you did the recent Caracas, right?
Yeah. That's the one everyone knows, is the Caracas reprint.
I mean, I don't know that because it's banned in my format. But
Yeah. But yet you do.
And yet I knew. Well, when Kat
Oh.
told me I was getting painted by someone, I was like, I should see what he's done before.
Ah. Like, oh, that guy, he only paints band cards. I got to do the online Library of Alexandria art too. That was super exciting for about 3 days, and then I remembered, oh, they're not gonna print it. Oh, all right, well, it's still good and exciting, I guess.
Like the online art of all the old cards is always so much better.
Yeah.
It's like, it's great. I wish they would put it in paper.
Well, thank you. It's a complicated thing. Yeah, there are business decisions, and there are a lot of factors that go into all of that. And as an artist, yes, I'm very glad I got to do it. And on the other hand, but I shouldn't say inappropriate things at Gen Con while being hosted by.
What's your favorite piece of art that you've done?
That I've done? Well, they're like my children. They all disappoint me in different ways.
And like all children, they're secretly a favorite of the parents.
They're secretly a favorite. There are things about the Blight Mamba that I think worked really well. When I was working on that card, and I know this is what I said yesterday, but it's still true. I had deliberately wanted it to be recognizable from across the table. That was a consideration I hadn't taken with other cards. So if you remember it, there's the snake curling around and then the red tip of its tail. And I liked sort of the story element of the viper using the tail to distract its prey, to look that way and then strike. But also I thought that red hint would make it very recognizable from upside down across the table. One of the proudest moments, beyond, aside from getting to do Caracas, and aside from getting to do the Library of Alexandria, was when I did the second Azorius Guildgate. When they did the view sort of zoomed out.
Yeah.
And Jeremy Jarvis was art director at the time, and he had a reputation for being really terse in his communication with artists. Like, getting 2 words back was about as good as you were going to get.
Got it.
And when I turned that one in, his response was, "Wow, Drew, you really blew us all away. You should be proud of this." I'm like, I got 2 sentences. So that was a real feather in my cap.
2 sentences from someone who's normally terse is like really high praise.
So I probably got cocky and blew the next one, and
It's like, I got 2 sentences. Look what I can do.
Yeah. I actually exchanged email with Jeremy about it after I sort of stopped being given regular work. I had L5R players coming up to me and saying, "Oh, who should give you more?" I implicitly trust Jeremy. I know he's working hard on this and making the best choices. So I was always quick to stick up for him because I believe that. And when I emailed him about it, when he got his promotion, it had been a pleasure working with him, and congratulations. And I'm sorry I didn't get to do more. He said, "Well, you weren't blacklisted or anything. It was just we never knew what we were going to get from you." And I thought that was a feature. I thought, I'd do 50 thumbnails trying to come up with an exciting way and an interesting way to approach the problems.
Right.
No, that doesn't make our lives better.
When we're looking for an art style, we meant just one. Live group, how are you?
Fantastic.
I see you.
Oh no. So, of all of your children, which one is your favorite?
My wife has a clear favorite, but she doesn't like me to talk about that. For a while, I was clearly second. But my kids all know my wife is number 1. That's been explicit all along. So the kids are okay. They're generally likable.
That's actually really good.
You
Yeah.
can ask for, really.
Yeah.
Generally likable that's a feat.
I have 4 kids. I'm clearly fine breeding stock.
So you have 4 generally likable children. Like,
Generally
that's a
likable.
pretty sizable
They-
contribution to the betterment of the world.
Thank you. They have their moments as genuinely crappy roommates. But when my oldest is 14, and then I've got a 12-year-old and a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old, their brains aren't fully formed yet.
Right. I mean,
I try to remind myself that.
That's a very good point. There.
We did swimming lessons.
Much as they would deny that.
We did swimming lessons, and I was clear. All right, what is rule number 1, children? We would say. I would ask them as we were going swimming. Don't die. What is rule number 2? Don't kill anyone else.
That's a really
All right.
solid survival instinct, yeah. Don't die, don't kill
The
yourself.
unspoken rule 0 they realized was don't let anything happen to mom. Because again, she's my favorite.
Really, rule zeros are the most important rules you could know.
But my daughter joined the swim team, and I took her. Was picking her up for one meet, and her coach heard her say, "Dad, I followed both of the rules." It seems we have more frank discussions about death and things like that around the dinner table than a lot of my daughter's peer groups do.
Probably.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
Why?
You know, people don't give children.
I mean, it's the one guarantee you have in life. You won't be here forever.
And
neither will anyone else.
I think people don't give children enough credit, right? It's not
I-
that they're stupid; they're just inexperienced. If children weren't competent, the Industrial Revolution never would have taken off.
And I think we just lost the other half of the Twitch viewers.
Hi guys. This fun thing.
But the half that stick around is going to tip us well.
We're gonna figure out how to hack the account and take the bits for themselves. Like the capitalists they truly are. I'm fine. Everything's great.
This is fine.
Everything's
Everything's
fine.
fine.
Oh, he's painting her face again. Quick, make her laugh.
Yeah, the mouth area, I can't address at all. It's just, we're looking at hour 2 for that. Or I could pull a sergeant and just scrape it all off.
No, it's fine.
One of the other benefits I think I got out of art school was that I have influences that a lot of other fantasy illustrators don't. I get to put my little de Kooning marks in, or my Diebenkorn compositional edge thing. I get to say, I think Gerhard Richter had some really interesting ideas, and instead of a lot of people just say, Frazetta and Elmore and Parkinson. Not that Elmore and Parkinson weren't formative for me, but it's nice to have sort of a
Depth.
richness to my approach
Yeah.
that I think not everyone has. William O'Connor and I would talk about sort of modern art, modernism, things like that, because he really loved that stuff too.
One of the, I think Gavin from the EDH Rules Committee was mentioning yesterday at some point. I think I was playing a game with him, and he said, it's really fun to talk about things once you know how to talk about them.
Yeah.
Like, okay, he's speaking about wine in general, but still, it carries to other things. I found once I knew how to explain what I didn't like about certain, like, art movements, for example, I enjoyed looking at art a lot more. I'd be like, well, here's why this sucks to me. And here's why this is super rad.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll go to a museum and still go through the modern art section. And I went to the Tate Modern when I was in London and walked around and said, yep, still don't like it. I don't have to worry about this anymore.
I think when I went to, so of course, since we're in Paris, it only makes sense to, study art. And we went to the Pompidou Center. And so that's like mostly all modern art with different, subgenres within it. So I think, what was it? They had a Dada exhibit.
Okay.
I've never hated something so like viscerally in my life. I was like,
Oh,
oh, this is stupid. I can't stand it. Dude wrote his name on a toilet and he thinks he's an artist. Like, no. I
Oh, but that's
can't.
a challenge to the the establishment and the status quo, and the claim that if you pay your entry fee, you'll be in the show. All at the same
Well,
time.
and that's the thing. Like, cerebrally,
Or-
I understood
Yeah.
what the point was. I still hated it.
And that's. I heard a story. Should I tell you this?
Yes,
tell this
tell
on the
the
internet?
story.
This
Then I
story.
can shut up and focus.
All right. The story is. This story came from a portrait painter, who was doing a portrait of a billionaire, oil tycoon or something like that. And during the sitting, the rich guy said, "Hey, do you want me to tell you how the art market works?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So, all right, this is how it works. One, all right, everyone's in on it. There are the collectors, there's the gallery, and there's the artist. We're all in on it. We're running this. We're running the scheme, running the job. It's necessary that the artists make enough art to go around, and not so much that the market is flooded, but
Right.
also it's important that it be inaccessible. That they need to be able to have experts dictate its value.
Right.
All right, because if anyone can tell whether it's good or not, then the scam falls apart. So what they do is they start collecting the art at reasonable prices, slowly raising them, and then when everyone has had enough and they're ready to cash in on this round, someone takes one for the team and buys a piece at auction for $10 million, thereby raising the value of all the other pieces they've been buying all along up to $10 million each, and then you donate them to a museum and get an enormous tax write-off. And that's how that market worked.
Fascinating.
And part of me, it's totally an unregulated market. The part of me that wanted to believe my art school teachers were really sincere about this, and that the fine art market, modern art market was good and true, even if misguided and not something I liked. I was very heartbroken over that. Okay, I have 4 minutes on it. We can take a break now.
Yeah, I got 4 minutes.
It's up to you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that's the story I heard. I heard it, from a friend, a mutual friend of that portrait painter, and then later verified it with them. So I feel comfortable sharing it with you on the internet.
I had something akin to that I was going to mention, and as I stared at this spot on the wall, it completely escaped me.
Oh.
So
Well, maybe if you think back to what you were
imagine that I
doing at the time you
contributed
had the idea.
something worthwhile and witty. I meant to, and then it was gone.
It was pithy, kind of amusing. We should chuckle.
Yep.
Yeah, and yet poignant.
Well, now that you've shared this with us, we're going to get the Twitch stream demonetized because they can't let people know.
It's true. The awareness you get sitting in one position for as long as this is incredible.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like my left shoulder is about 6 inches lower than my right one right now. Whether it's true or not, I can't tell. 'Cause that's all I can feel.
Have you ever held your eyes in one position, not let them move around?
Yes.
Yeah, and the world sort of dissolves around you.
Uh-huh.
That was really a weird thing to do. The first time I did that was as the volunteer in my art school biology class.
I'm just going to try and see if I can do it right now, and I might fall out of the chair, but let's find out.
This is something you can try at home.
Ready, go.
And now we're going to lose the other half of the Twitch audience when they all try this.
I mean, eventually there won't be any more halves to lose, but
We're in the third half of the program.
have Have you ever done the thing where you can look far away if you're like riding in a car, like in the passenger seat, you look out to the side, you fixate on a point far away in the horizon, and everything that's in front of it just starts looking like it's a mudslide or like an avalanche or something?
Oh no.
I used to do that when I was a kid all the time. Just like imagine I was going against this very, very scary fast river by just looking really far away in the horizon with a lot of fast moving ground in front of you. It lends itself in when you're staring at that far away point that seems to be moving slower even though it's not. It looks like you're just riding something crazy, just a giant mudslide. It's weird.
That's cool.
Rain stuff.
All right, let's take a break now.
Okay.
Okay.
Break time.
So break time. What should we do?
I don't know. Did anybody ask? Are you watching on Twitch? Did anybody ask anything? Okay. Wait. It's fun.
I'll talk about materials, things like that, when we pick
Yeah,
up
go
next
for it.
time.
Sure. I'm gonna find my tea. Oh, I know where my tea is. Talk about materials and pizza. Can you guys hear me at all while I'm sitting here? Okay, I couldn't tell. I can barely hear anything. It's just crowd noise. It's crowd noise and him. Yeah. I feel like I'm getting trolled because my phone vibrates my watch when like I get an alert and it's just like constantly going. It is Discord. I just want the bubbles.
You have to be careful because if you drink too much of the tea, you don't have enough tea left in the bottle.
Challenge accepted. So we've lost what? We were at 1,500 something, and then we lost half that, then we lost half that, then we lost half that. So y'all like in this for the long haul? You guys are badasses. Every time they move that and I see this TV just start doing this, I'm like, so scary.
It's okay.
I know, yeah. Take one for the team.
It's fine. I can cover it.
It's funny, this is like, I feel outside of Emerald City, this is my first like con. I go to plenty of the Magic events, which they're trying to make, you know, con-ish. But this is the first like real one I've been to outside of Emerald City. So, different cons, 2. Total con quantity, like 4 or 5. This is the best posture keeper of all time. This thing is brutal. And it's just foam. It's all bendy and everything. I'm just... Nope. It's the first time ever.
So you're doing an admirable job.
There's no big squiggly lines on my face. I'm going to call it a win. Ready?
This is a Twitch stream. hosting, right? I can donate bits to put big squiggly lines.
I know. I'm pretty sure I'm hosting it. Yes. So yes, of course. By all means. I know. I keep thinking of that trick where they're like, when you're trying to like pose for a photo, and they're just imagine a piece of string is coming out of your face. I'm like, okay. I don't want to, but I will.
No, we're not. We're still on break if you want.
Oh, okay. I'm ready when you are.
I was gonna give a 10-minute break. It's been 5. I'm ready to go, but it's up to you.
All right, let me just respond to this one text really quick.
Okay.
I didn't even realize it was 8:30.
Yeah.
Yeehaw. Did y'all see the new Commander previews?
Oh yeah. Which one's your favorite?
Yurik, obviously. Yawgmoth's kid that got
Oh,
spoiled
okay,
today?
sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
hear what you
Oh yeah, Yurik. I do, yeah. I don't even care because I just love it. Uh-huh. I'll be fine seeing it because I want to see it everywhere. All right, shall we?
Sure. I'm just gonna do the cross-legged lawn chair, relax. Oh wait, the microphone's too far away. No, you have to sit still. I get to.
What? No!
Life isn't fair.
I know.
Life lesson. I do that for my kids.
The more you know.
So do you have a favorite cosplay?
Do I have a favorite cosplay? This one and the Brea I have.
Okay.
They are the two most comfortable, therefore they are my favorites. Let's be real. It's funny, I actually just modified this one. I tore, the sleeves had like another sleeve attached underneath these big puffy coin parts. I tore that out and then just sewed one strip of Velcro like onto this regular white shirt I bought on Amazon, and then one strip of Velcro on the inside of these sleeves, and it has been life-changing. I have a full range of movement. Now what? It's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. It's funny, like you'll see something, you're like, oh, it's kind of uncomfortable, and you're wearing it, and you don't realize just how uncomfortable it is until you take something off, and you're just like, I just thought like that kind of pulled my arm a little, like it was tight. But it turns out over the course of the day, like your body's tried to compensate, and you're in this weird pose, and like you just took it off, and you didn't realize that your arm wasn't actually at your side, it was attached to your ear or something. The way you will adjust and make yourself uncomfortable because you think it's going to solve the problem is incredible when you spread it out over time. Cosplays are like make that real apparent.
Do you have something you're working on?
I'm working on revamping stuff I already have.
Okay.
So Atrax is probably my big scary project. Because Victor was like, why don't I just give it 2 tails? that are segmented and spiky. So, yeah, why not? Oh, and wings? Cool. And unhumanly long legs? Sweet. Oh, she's floating? Tight, let's do it. Really, the mistake was mine for thinking I should cosplay in the first place, but nobody else had tried and I wanted to be the first, so here we are.
You just need to hook yourself up like a Segway underneath it, like float around.
So I have those weird high heels that don't have heel parts in the back, that are like the weird floating ones. I had those and I was like, okay, they're this like shiny metallic, like a mirrored on the bottom of them. It didn't really sing, so I covered them in like concrete colored spray paint. It's like kind of metallic. I was like, well, at least this way I'll blend in. We'll see how that works. I'm sure I'll trip in Las Vegas, or I'll need like 17 planeswalkers to shepherd me around because I can't actually see out of it. So, when we had it,
You could just make it a sculpture and not get in it at all.
I'm not a sculptor, I'm a cosplayer.
Okay.
That's the whole point, is that I walk around. Not well, but I do it. In Portland, I was trying to get down a set of stairs as a Traxo, which was problem number one. But I had everybody else that of the group I was in was with me, and so they guided me down the stairs, so I just kept telling everybody they were my super friends. The joke landed well at the event.
But the Twitch audience can tell, but that
No,
killed.
they hated it. Yeah. Whatever, what's that Kappa emote or something is just like spam now.
Oh, I can talk about materials. I'm
Yeah.
oil painting because they are my favorite. One of the other good things about college was my very first oil painting class. It was like the clouds parted and the shaft of light from on high. Oh,
Yep.
this is how paint is supposed to work.
Yeah.
Not that they taught me how to use it. But that was really exciting.
Yeah, it's always nice when you get that one. So when I was doing all the jewelry school and everything, like I kind of went through the paces, but it wasn't until I went and I scrimped and saved and got the money to go take a hand engraving class from this like master engraver down in Louisiana, Sam Alfano, my dude, he's the raddest. And I sat down there with that and had like a power graver in my hand, because normally like most of the ones are hand push, and that's how I learned, where you are holding a little tiny like 2 or 3 millimeter piece of steel that's sharpened just so, and pushing it just with the back of your hand
Okay.
into metal, and that's how you cut it. And then I did it with a handpiece that had an air compressor attached to it that cut thousands of times, as I just moved my hand effortlessly. Oh, this
That
is
made
what
a
we wanted to
difference?
do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I get it. I like this stuff now. So I started doing that, and then I was doing, I was stone setting at Blue Nile. And my engraver put it in my head, hey, if you want to be a really good stone setter, you should go to this school in Belgium, in Antwerp. And then I did.
As one does.
It took a couple, I at least gave myself a year and a half since he told me that. But yeah, I went to Belgium and was just sitting at a microscope for 9 hours a day, putting tiny sub 1 millimeter rocks into little tiny things I hand drilled out, so we get just like a blank sheet of metal. And you have to cut everything out yourself. When you like encrust a surface with stones, you cut all that by hand. So it'd be like 2 days of drilling the exact same hole and folding the exact same cup.
Oh, wow.
Just pressing the beads on it.
That's got to be perfect for a body.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No.
There
I'm
we
pretty
go.
sure my instructor survived on like caffeine, cigarettes, and spite. He's incredible. I've never seen anything like it. He would sit down, he'd give us a lesson, he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't do anything. Just go out for a cigarette, talk to someone very quietly and methodically on the phone, come back, set more stones, tell us we didn't do good enough, make us do it again, and then go back to setting stones. I never saw that man eat a single bite of food the entire time I was there, just like 3.5 months. It's surreal.
He was siphoning the happiness off
He was
the
doing
class.
something, but it's funny, like, so his class was only 4 people, and one of them actually dropped out. So by the end, it was just us. It was 3 of us girls, and the first month was like him testing us to see if we could break us or not by just giving like virtually no feedback. He's do again better. I was like, I need to learn. Of course it's not perfect. He's like, yeah, well, it's not perfect yet, so why are you bringing it to me? You're supposed to tell me what's not perfect. So the first month he was totally playing with us and trying to see if he could make sure like he could hang. Because I mean there is pressure involved if you're, dealing with stuff that's expensive or whatever. And eventually he'd joke around with us and like test us with feats of strength. Like you'd thread a pencil between your hands and try to break it. He's like, when you're real setters, you break. It's so strong. It's like, yeah, your hands get so strong you break pencils because you can. All right, cool. But he actually turned out to be super sweet, really helpful. And it sounds like, unlike your art school experience, gave a lot of insight to us on like what we should charge, how we go to somewhere, and basically all of our practice pieces. It turns out he made us do them over and over, so we had reasonable show pieces that you could go into any jeweler afterwards and be like, this is what I can do. And they're like, that's great, so $30 an hour? Yeah. So he was, you couldn't have asked for a better instructor in that he was never hemming and hawing on something being good enough. It sucked, and here's how you needed to do better. And then after 3 months of making it better, it was like, take this anywhere, they'll hire you. All right, tight. And he's like, and if they don't, here's what you charge if someone's doing this. Here's, here's the different levels of it. If you're in this geographic region, double it. If you're in this one, don't even bother, just move. And so we got a lot of insight into the industry. And the nice thing was that the school itself was in his shop. So he has customers coming in all day while he's yelling at us and sitting there and doing his work. So every now and again, if you got something really unusual, he'd pull us up and say, hey, here's how you'd approach something like this. You may never see anything like it, or this may be all that you work with. Here's how to tackle it. So we got a lot of really, really useful practical knowledge out of it, outside of just being like, look, we can make bling now. So it's pretty sweet. I'm grateful for the being able to know what the work was worth and what we should be asking and how to approach it and go at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's something that illustrators have started working together to share more of. The more information we exchange, the better off we all are going to be.
Yep.
I think part of our recalcitrance was, no one wants to admit they're making tens of dollars in the game industry. And so it was hard to...
I think it's one of those real situations where a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
If there's someone that's really good, they're getting screwed out of good money because they just don't know any better.
A lot of people want to ignore doing business. They don't... I didn't go into this because I love filling out invoices.
Right.
That's why I tried to get my daughter to fill out invoices, but no.
No, she wants to be an artist.
Yeah. No, Dad, I'll paint and draw. So she started out saying she would be an illustrator or a painter, and now she's like, no, I'll make ball-jointed dolls and I'll do cosplay. Why are you trying to make your life harder?
Yeah, don't do that.
What I'm doing is already hard enough. Don't go looking for a harder way.
BT dubs, guys.
Yeah.
99% of cosplayers make this many dollars.
Yeah.
In fact, we're usually in the red by more than that many dollars.
And that's something I didn't understand when my first encounters with cosplayers. It was totally alien. I'm like, what is going on? I don't know. So I'm afraid, and I don't trust you. And I'm really sorry about it.
That's all right.
Yeah. So
a lot of it's passion project stuff, and I should say that 99% of cosplayers aren't going to be super famous, 1 million Instagram followers, 1,000 airs or 100 airs. Just that for a lot of people, it's a hobby, it's a passion sort of thing, and they're not trying to become famous from it. They do it because they love creating, and this is a good outlet for it.
Yeah. And the more, the more art you make, the better your life is going to be.
Right.
Even if you're not especially good at it, it's going to rewire your brain and help you be more careful in your judgments and understand things better. It is. Art makes life better.
Art does make everything better.
cat always quotes me as saying.
It's true.
So what is it? Is there a talking point that I should hit now?
Thanks, Pastimes Games. for
Oh,
having
yeah,
us.
thanks, Pastime Games. They're giving us this space. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
The end of a long
Thanks
day.
anybody that's watching. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys are great.
At the end of a long day on the con floor, I get to sit and paint
They
and
get to
chat.
listen to some yahoos rattle his mouths while one of us can't move and the other one's trying to make a work of art.
Are you talking to me? Is there a spot I need to fix?
I can see you. It's all right there.
All right. I'm gonna work on your mouth now.
Okay.
Doo-doo-doo. like W.C. Fields. You're bothering me, kid. All right, I'm done working on your mouth. It's your turn to talk some more.
That was fast.
I just gave up.
It's pretty big, isn't it?
It's
Oh,
okay,
am
you're
I in the
not
way?
under the
Okay,
tent.
I'm not in the way.
That's what Yes.
It was either that or last minute panic.
I'll take me.
Last minute panic is the best motivator.
Yeah. You know, as one of those kids who could coast through high school, it was
Me
only a
too.
deadline that could get stuff done.
Doesn't matter if I have a D on my progress report. Watch me ace every test I took.
Yeah.
There was a 3 in front of my GPA at the end. It was all fine.
I felt so bad. There were some classes,
4.0 was way too much work. I
Yeah.
just couldn't be bothered.
there were some classmates I had who worked so hard, and they deserved way more success than I did, and didn't always work out that way.
It's always kind of trivializing, like the A for effort thing. It's like, that's actually meaningful.
Yeah.
Like, effort is good.
Everyone was shocked when I got a 4 on my AP history club. I was the worst AP history student. It was
I remember
terrible.
one of my biology teachers was like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Was what?
He was just like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I would never do homework. I would never do my lab work. And when we took our standardized tests in California with the Golden State exam, and it's basically like, where are you amongst California high schoolers? I got high honors on my biology test. I was the first person to because it just like I just remembered it. And I always had trouble doing homework if it felt like it was extra work. It's like I already know what I'm doing. I don't need to prove it to you again. That's just busy work. So that's apparently my high school grasp of biology was very much that. I was the first person to finish the test, and I remember when those things came in and he was handing them out. He handed me mine. Like we had a totally fine, like cordial relationship. He just gave all of us crap a ton. He handed it over to me and he's like, "Are you sure you didn't cheat?" I was like, "I saw right in front of you."
You know, I was homeschooled for the first bunch of years and then went to public school. So I had a really low tolerance for busy work. And luckily I passed that on to my children.
That's why she doesn't want to be an accountant.
I mean, there is a point where it's good to know the value of your time and like
Yeah.
what
And
what
you can learn from
need to
repetition
do.
sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you can't gain anything from that because I know when I do need to work on stuff because I was so accustomed to like picking things up quickly and retaining them really well. When I do have trouble with something, that I actually have to try.
Yeah. I tried one year in high school to actually study for a test, and then I did worse. I said, okay, I've learned my lesson.
Test taking has always been like easy mode for me.
Yeah.
Actually, like, using my brain to plan something out so I'm doing things in steps instead of writing 16 pages the night before it's due. Different story. The information's all there. I've just failed at the time management part. But I also know that I fail at the time management part. So when I get a suboptimal grade on something, I know why. It was me. It was me. I was never someone to say, like, oh, what the teacher said wasn't fair. It's like, yeah, actually, I did do this the night before. You're right. It's fine. I'll take that seat. Yeah, it's okay.
C's get degrees.
Right in the meaty part of the curve. C's get degrees, D's get them too. That was me in my high school math classes. Woo. I do love, one of my favorite things was always how, back when I was going to high school and cell phones weren't as ubiquitous, you did have to know how to do math in your head. Your teachers would tell you, because it's not like you're going to have a calculator on you all the time. I have the entirety of human knowledge in the palm of my hand, and I use it to shitpost dog memes. Like, that's where we are.
Yay, humanity!
But I also always have a calculator on me, so I don't remember.
Yeah. End up double checking simple arithmetic just because.
I was a cashier for a really long time, so I got real good at change. But the one class for math that I was ever any good at was statistics, because it was just word problems, and they just occasionally threw numbers in there.
Yeah.
I know how to read charts. This is easy. Our tests are all open book. This is amazing.
Except for those squiggles all over her face.
How dare you? This is super rad. Yeah, I love that they do this. How did you get into painting these? Like, did
Painting
pastimes ask you, or?
I think Howard Lyon and Steve Argyle had started doing them at GPs.
Yep.
And then last year, Steve and Kat arranged a session, and they knew I did, figure painting, portrait painting sessions, and invited me along. And it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've seen Howard Lyon do it at a few GPs,
Yeah.
and Steve too.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if that had been like the catalyst for a lot of this, or if.
Yeah. We're writing Howard's coattails.
I gotcha.
But it was a lot of fun.
I love watching Howard's like time lapses of his oil paintings on Instagram that he
Yeah.
posts. Holy cow!
They make it all look so easy.
It makes it look so fast.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I know it's a time lapse.
I watched some real-time artist videos, and they make it look so easy. They're like, oh, all I have to do is this and this and this. I can do. Oh, what?
That's me with like how to draw a circle tutorial. I'm like, easy, no problem.
I mean, look at that. Oh, yeah.
I'm
I
the one tying a
understand.
string around the pencil, be like,
All right, so I would like a few minutes just to paint, if
Okay.
we can take a break. Sorry, everybody.
You're gonna take a few minutes to paint?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. You can leave.
please don't.
You-
Just be sitting here quietly stuck looking at this point where there's nobody.
No one here.
I mean, he's already committed to buy it. Why is he here? You suddenly got taller.
I can get shorter again.
Yeah,
I
go
didn't
ahead and
realize.
get shorter again. Alright, that's change. So what I'm doing now is working on correcting the drawing. I've got a lot of paint down, and it's almost in the right places. And so it's a job of editing right now. I'm just scooching this a little bit over that way, this a little bit that way, and ideally being able to get the features looking more correct than they are, to try to get her face shape rather than just a face shape or a head shape. It's especially things have shifted after our break. I didn't get her right back in the same pose. And we've both been moving around. I've been moving around. So that's going to shift points of view. It's going to shift the shadow shapes. So right now I'm just trying to really nail it down so that I can refine on top of a correct foundation. I've been doing a lot more painting. The question is, do I normally work from life or from photographs? I've been doing, most of my painting these days has been from a live model, doing sort of weekly painting sessions like that. When I'm doing Star Wars stuff, especially like the Vader and Leia piece that's at my booth, when it's got to be young Carrie Fisher, I'm not doing that from life. But getting to understand how you make a shape move in space from life means you can interpret and correct the photo reference rather than just copying a photo and then having all the artifacts of having copied a photo. I know that's a line artists use a lot, but it wasn't, the first time I started that Vader and Leia painting, I wasn't good enough to do it. I hadn't learned that what I really need to do across that lip transition to sell the shape was to have a soft edge and then break a highlight across it. And if I was just copying the photo, it wasn't reading correctly. But having taken another portrait painting workshop, I had that bit of wisdom and could finally put the one brush stroke in the right place to make the piece work.
I did not know that was your booth when I was walking past it today, but that Vader piece is glorious.
Oh, thank you.
Really good.
Thank you.
I wish I had enough money to throw actually take one off.
It's a 7.25 feet tall by 3 feet wide, full figure, life-size portrait of Darth Vader and Princess Leia. It's called Defiance. I did it for Star Wars Celebration a few years back. It's licensed and approved. All its papers are in order. Actually, the George Lucas Museum of Narrative Art bought the original. So that's nice.
Yeah.
I've gotten more of his money than he's gotten of mine, so I win, right?
Absolutely.
that's one of the
That's 7 feet of his money. That's amazing.
yeah. So he has 5 of my pieces now.
My husband, if he's watching the stream, is losing his mind here. He is Star Wars.
Oh, it's really exciting. It also is part of why I'm kind of complacent about my art career. Like, I don't have anything to prove anymore.
George Lucas has the
I've done my magic cards. I've done my book covers. I sold stuff to George Lucas. That's pretty much what I got in it for. And now what?
Pretty good legacy right there.
I've had a good run. In the past 3 years, I think I've taken one illustration job, and that was a couple of magic cards last fall. So let's see how it works out. I was excited to work with Cynthia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have known her since. Sorry. I'd known Cynthia since her old freelancing days and really respected her and her art. And when she emailed me to see if I wanted to do a couple of pieces, I was excited about it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Who was it that
They're okay.
made the artist to art director transition recently?
Zach Stella?
Zach Stella, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny to have my artist friends become art directors. Like I knew Jeremy Jarvis back when he was an illustrator too. You know, hanging out at the bar at Gen Con, and then wait, you what? How did? Oh, okay. I've never done a studio employment thing. I've always been a little curious. You know, how is it to work in a group?
Yeah.
But then I remember I don't have to worry about working in a group right now, so that's pretty good. I remember people. You know what's wrong with the world? People.
Tough but fair.
My mother-in-law and I have some differing politics, and the first time I saw her wanting to fight me was I'd said, "Do you know what's wrong with the world?" And she bristled and she sort of inhaled. She was ready, and I said, "People," and she stopped and she thought.
That was
She accepted.
brains being lazy again. She was ready.
Yep.
She knew the pattern.
Yep.
Flummoxed her.
Yep. I don't really plan that far ahead. She asked if I had any other upcoming projects you should keep an eye out for. I don't know. I'll pitch something to Lucasfilm for the next Star Wars convention, see if they want to do that. I'm considering...
You want another check, don't you?
Yeah, well, not just.
Thousands of dollars.
I want bragging rights too.
Well, okay.
It's not just about the money.
Of course not. It's also about the prestige,
Yeah.
the image.
Yeah, it's... George Lucas has one of the largest collections of Drew Baker originals, actually, with those 5, just because I haven't done many paintings.
You're just trying to get somebody to decide that it's worth something now,
Yeah.
so they'll all make you not make you money, but make themselves money.
So I just want some billionaire to pick me for the gallery game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm worth it. The
George Lucas thought so.
the Western, it's funny. Some art markets, like they don't want you in it. They don't want your paintings if you are an illustrator. But if you have been an illustrator and aren't anymore, then you're a golden child. It's really anyway. Yeah. But projects, I have projects I should be doing.
Right.
All right, one of them, this is the craziest one, is a children's picture book. I have never done anything whimsical professionally. I am not an especially whimsical person, but, you know, animals walking around solving problems in a communal way. And it's such a delightful story that it's just been lodged in my head for years. I've done a thumbnail, just a little dumb sketch that, 10 years ago now. And Kat, Steve's wife, saw it, Kat Wortley, and spent 4 years saying, "Drew, what are you going to do with that? What are you going to do with the elephant? What are you going to do with the elephant?" I would see her, Jen, Drew, what are you doing with the elephant?
Wow.
And then, waiting in a waiting room for some government paperwork. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's 9 o'clock and they're going to end the stream.
Oh, okay.
Thanks everybody for sticking out, for your
Bye,
questions.
stream people.
Bye.
Now we can really get mad at Seraph.
Thanks, Rashad.
Bye, stream.
So I was sitting in a waiting room. I think I was getting a new Social Security card. And did thumbnails for